is going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Deborah with Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, our health, wellness, well-being, natural healing, etc. We've been diving into a lot of different topics, just kind of starting to generate the energy, right, of what it means to be healthy and well, and ways that we can do it in a natural and supportive way for our being. One thing I love about this is it really honors life. It honors our life, and so often in the wellness community, it's about withholding, it's about exercising a bunch, or only eating salads, or restricting calories, and yes, the physical component is, if we eat less, we lose weight. Exercise obviously caters towards that. But it can also lead to that concept of disease and unwellness, right? That is one of the things that has pushed me more towards the study and embodiment of Ayurveda in my own life. So I have studied under the school of thought from Maharishi Mahesh, and he is the one that brought Ayurveda back to the West in the 70s. And not only did he enliven the traditional system of Ayurveda, he also married it with transcendental meditation, the practice of transcendental meditation, with the concept that when we enliven our being on all these different levels, right, Ayurveda is the science of life. So it speaks to every aspect, everything, right? Honestly, it the doshas govern certain times of day. Certain times of day you have activity and rest. Different routines during different seasons. You cleanse at specific times. It really has life broken down to a science. And it's amazing because they were doing this, the seers were doing this 6,000 years ago. It's pretty crazy when you think about it, versus modern day when we have endless tools and equipment to measure things, and we're still a little bit rudimentary in our understanding of, consciousness. So with that being said, we've been talking a lot in these wellness videos, my son actually says that, videos, but we've been talking a lot about what it means to be well. And like I mentioned earlier, Ayurveda really believes it's about nurturing and supporting our body, not withholding, not limiting. Yes, if there is excess, there is a process of scraping that away, but we do it in a way that is honoring and healing for the body, not harmful, right? Because there is that thing of being too aggressive, too much the other way. And Maharishi really believed that the best way to support the physiology is to not put it under stress, which, what, how would that even exist in modern times? Our world is saturated with stress. And even when he brought this knowledge to the West, it was, still modern times, right? Obviously technology has advanced things, to an insane capacity, but at the same time, it, it's also something that, sorry, I'm gonna have to cut that out. I lost my train of thought. My phone started ringing, wah wah, as we're talking about technology, right? The blessings and the curses. So, okay, so there is this concept with well-being. We have to know how to tune into ourselves, and what I love about Ayurveda is it puts it into very practical, achievable protocols. daily practices, routines of life that really honor the system. And when we do that for our physiology, it is amazing how beautifully, harmoniously it works together, you know? And honestly, when we're implementing things like meditation, transcendental meditation throughout our day, it helps maximize our time, our efficiency. It's like super bizarre, you know? In my mind, I would think, well, if I'm adding in, you know, this huge morning routine, then, you know, it should eat away at my time for business or whatever. But in reality, it actually like allows me to be more efficient. It's the coolest thing in the world. And I that's kind of where Maharishi really talks about. I'm going to read this excerpt from the book. It's called, you know, the Science of Being and the Art of Living. It's a beautiful way to look at life. It's a beautiful lens to see it through. Like I said, a lot of it is about honoring our consciousness, our health, our wellness, in order to like maximize our happiness, our longevity. He says, art implies a graceful and skillful method of accomplishment. The art of living any phase of life is to master that phase. The only way one can master any or all phases of life is by using latent potentialities and applied techniques. And so that's really talking about how, you know, it is this process of mastery, right? In Maharishi has these 16 principles of life, and one of them that I find so profound is the nature of life is to grow and evolve. If you look at anything in nature from seed to full gestation, that is growth, right? That's kind of what we're all about. You know, even the way our physiology changes over time, our brain, it actually moves from the more like practical, fundamental motor skill, that types of thing. And then as we continue to age, it continues to grow the prefrontal cortex, which is, you know, all about abstract thinking and wisdom, you know, that kind of like elderly wisdom, that innate experiences of life, you know, and that's where it reflects on how being healthy, being well, is really being able to set ourselves up for this type of success through the daily practices and habits. Because when we kind of have this systematic routine in place, like I said, we find this ability to maximize our potential. There's this awesome book, I'm sorry, I don't know the author, but it is called Mastery, and it talks about how, you know, same concept that Maharishi is talking about right now is, you know, we spend a lot of life on the plateau, and then we get a little jaunt up, and then we hit another plateau, and it's like each plateau we practice, right? It's like chipping away. If you listen to any interviews with professional athletes or celebrities alike, anyone that's really kind of had to work super hard to get where they are, there is this element of mastery behind it. You know, when authors, composers have produced great works, they focus very heavily on their routine and on their system, because our body, especially our mind, it has like a reservoir of decision making, right? It's like a bank, you know, it has X amount of filled in the beginning of the day, and you know, we kind of have to chip away at our decisions, and it depletes until we rest and, you know, kind of recharge that bank, so to speak. And this is the routine. It helps us not have to focus on, you know, the mundane things, but where we can actually put our energy into maximizing our potential. And that's really what this life is about. I mean, we all have desires of how we want our life to look, goals that we want to achieve, you know, and the cool thing about modern day, about technology, is it makes so much accessible. There's a lot of potential, you know, and we can really achieve whatever it is our heart desires. You know, we also just have to be mindful that we're working towards what our highest and best is, instead of like running ourselves in the ground in order to achieve it. You know, again, it comes back to that concept of intention. And when we find peace in the plugging away, you know, in the mundane, in refining our health, our well-being, our practice, our routine, our goals, when we incorporate that, that is when we become so incredibly powerful. That is when we see opportunities flood in, when we are empowered, and we really are aligning with our best sense of being. So I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet of what it means to be healthy and well, through the science of and technology of consciousness, through that concept of really refining and looking at life and our goals through that perspective of artistry and mastery. I really appreciate you tuning in always. If you enjoyed this video, definitely do a double thumbs up, share, subscribe, get notifications for when we drop new content. It's coming every day, baby. I appreciate all the love and support, sending so much love and blessings back to you. Thank you again.